A clue to whom? Tension in the room rose up several notches. Robert began to argue with Sarah in hushed tones, while Michael comforted a tearful Charlotte. What if she tells them those outlandish accusations she was spewing out earlier? What if they believe her? Robert whispered, dreading the possibility of being cast into even more debt trying to pay a lawyer or bail fees. Just answer any questions and trust the truth will speak for itself, Sarah replied, confident her husband would be fine. Charlotte, driven by curiosity and a growing sense of unease, crept closer to the study door. Charlotte, get away from there, Michael let out a frustrated whisper. Shh! She pressed a finger to her lips, silencing him. She could hear muffled voices, catching fragments of the conversation. Possible signs of forced entry. Insurance policy recently updated. Financial troubles we should know about. Suddenly, the study door swung open. Charlotte stumbled back, nearly colliding with Detective Carter. Detective Carter studied her with a firm grip on her shoulders. His brow furrowed as he studied her face, a flicker of recognition dancing in his eyes. There's something familiar about you, he murmured, his voice low and thoughtful. I can't quite place it. Charlotte felt her heart race. She forced a smile, her palms growing clammy. I don't think we've ever met, Charlotte replied, trying to sound casual. Carter nodded slowly, still studying her, as if searching for a missing piece of a puzzle. Maybe I've seen you at the community center or one of the charity events, he suggested, though his tone betrayed a hint of uncertainty. Could be, she said, her voice slightly higher than she intended. I try to stay out of the spotlight. She glanced over her shoulder, as if the study held the answers she was desperately trying to avoid. Right, Carter replied. His curiosity piqued. Well, you should probably stay close. We'll need everyone's help to figure out what happened here. Detective Carter gestured for James to follow him. He led James to a quiet corner of the kitchen, away from the rest of the family. To James's surprise, the detective's stern demeanor softened as soon as they were out of earshot. Look, James, Carter said in a low voice, I can tell you're sharp. I need allies here, and I have a hunch you might be able to help me. I can tell everyone here looks up to you. James blinked, taken aback by the detective's sudden change in tone. I want to help, sir. I just want to understand what's happening to my family. Carter nodded, a hint of a smile on his face. That's good. Now I'm going to share something with you. I need you to stay calm and not react visibly. Can you do that? James nodded. The back door may have been picked open, said Detective Carter, his voice steady but filled with urgency. Then suddenly a thought struck him, and he reached into his pocket. Actually, I have something to share with you. I found this wrapper by the fence outside. I haven't mentioned anything to anyone yet. He pulled out the crumpled piece of paper and handed it to the detective. Carter examined the wrapper, his expression shifting from curiosity to intrigue. It was a distinctive brand, a gourmet chocolate bar, with the name printed in elegant script. Where exactly did you find this? He asked. Right by the back fence, James replied, gesturing towards the dimly lit yard. I thought it was odd. I mean, who would be eating chocolate while breaking in? Detective Carter motioned for Michael to come with him for a moment. As they moved towards the study, Carter studied Michael's face, searching for signs of tension. They both took a seat. Grandpa Doug's study room exuded wealth and prestige. Leather-bound books lining the walls, an antique globe in the corner, and an empty case where Grandpa Doug's pocket watch used to sit. Michael, I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me, Carter began, his tone professional yet friendly. I have a few questions to ask about. First, can you tell me what you were doing when the break-in occurred? Carter asked, keeping his tone neutral. I must have been sleeping. I don't even remember hearing my brother moving about in the house, Michael said. I didn't hear anything. Charlotte is a lighter sleeper than I am. She never mentioned anything, though. If she noticed anything strange, I'm sure she would have spoken up about it. Speaking of Charlotte, Carter continued, how would you describe her relationship with your father? She respects him. It was hard for her at first, but they've both moved on and mellowed out quite a bit. Things are good now. They have their differences, though. Differences? Carter probed, noticing the shift in Michael's demeanor. Just typical family stuff. My father felt like I was rushing into getting married to her, Michael explained, rubbing the back of his neck. But she cares about him. I know that. Detective Carter jotted down notes, then pressed on. Did Charlotte ever mention anything about inheriting something from him? Any specific valuables or treasures? Michael thought for a moment. Not that I recall. She always said it was more about the memories than the money, but he paused, as if recalling a detail. I know she was curious about his old book collections. Maybe that's what she meant. Carter raised an eyebrow. Curious how? Just, I don't know. She thought there might be something valuable hidden in them, but that was just her speculation. More of a running joke between us, Michael said, shrugging. It never seemed serious. You don't understand, Detective. Charlotte would never steal from my father, or anyone else for that matter. She is the most law-abiding person I know. Follows every rule down to the letter. Okay, I commend you feeling so confident about your wife, said Detective Carter. These questions are simply an attempt to get a clear picture here. Carter leaned back, studying Michael's face. I appreciate your loyalty, but right now, I need to look at everyone with fresh eyes. That's how we get to the truth. Nothing personal. He paused, choosing his next words carefully. Tell me, did Charlotte or Doug ever spend time alone together? Sometimes, Michael replied slowly. She'd visit him for coffee or to help him organize things. I thought it was sweet, but it wasn't frequent. Carter nodded, sensing there was more beneath the surface. All right, and I also have to ask, did you ever see Charlotte in the study before the break-in? Michael hesitated again, a flicker of concern passing through his eyes. Well, she went to check on something in the study shortly before going off to bed. I didn't think much of it at the time. I thought she just wanted to do a bit of reading, maybe. Just have some time to herself. All right. And how would you say she's been doing lately? Has there been any noticeable changes or something unusual